Welcome to the Barry Charles Footy Show. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about international football. Australia are about to hit their straps as they play a try series against New Zealand and Samoa. Now, I'm going to have a look at this list of the teams, and I'm going to pick my Australian team here, and I'm also going to pick an Australia B. So, just to add that this Australia B team could be good enough to even win this competition by themselves. But anyway, we're going to look at the teams. We're going to go through fullback all the way to the 17, and then have a look at Australia B. So remember to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It'd be very much appreciated. Let's get to it. Australian Kangaroos. Who makes the team? Remember to comment below on anything, what you disagree with, who you think should be in some positions, and I will comment on it in a further video. So let's get to it. Fullback, yes. Well, here are the contenders: James Tedesco, Dylan Edwards, and Reece Walsh. You could just say James Tedesco and Reece Walsh, to be honest. They're the two fighting it out for this position, but Dylan Edwards is the next one up the ranks here. Well, if you're going on current form, Reece Walsh. If you're going on overall career, James Tedesco. That is the question mark, and that's the query Mal Meninga, Laurie Daly, and Darren Lockyer will have when they decide to pick this team. From what I've heard, all the talk from Mal Meninga, James Tedesco will be fullback. But for me, if I'm picking, I'll be picking Reece Walsh. I know I've said stuff about his off-field behaviour, even on-field behaviour, but he is the best fullback in the game now. James Tedesco could fight his way back to being the best, but right now, Reece Walsh is the best in the comp. Don't forget, James Tedesco's win in State of Origin was without Reece Walsh in the team, and they missed him dearly in the last Origin match. So for me, Reece Walsh is number one. Now the wingers. This is an interesting one because there's so many opportunities who to pick here. So Valentine Holmes is a chance. You got Selwyn Cobbo, Campbell Graham, Josh Addo-Carr, Murray Talagi, and the list goes on and on and on. You can pick so many wingers. It's embarrassing how many good wingers are out there. Xavier Coates. There's so many very good wingers out there that you can pick from. But we can only pick two. And I'm just going purely on form. And even though the form might not be there of late, but Addo-Carr was very good in the last Origin and was playing well earlier in the year for the Bulldogs. And Campbell Graham, for me, he was unlucky. Should have been in Origin. Had a few injuries and they didn't pick him. But he has been one of the best players all season. He's been a little bit disappointed in the last few weeks, but I'm expecting him to bounce back. And to me, he deserves a spot on the wing. Even though I can see there's going to be some combinations here. You could see Murray Talagi coming in there to partner who's going to be in the centre, so I think you can guess who that's going to be. But for me, Campbell Graham deserves a spot for mine. Now, centres, this is a pretty easy one, but we've got Latrell Mitchell, Matt Burton, Brandon Best, and Valentine Holmes for me. They're the ones to look at. Obviously, Stephen Crichton will be playing for Samoa, so he will not be selected in. Same with Brian Toll for the wingers. So, to me, well, he's out of form, but he really needs to find form. Latrell Mitchell, to me, he's the one. He's the first one picked, but the other one, you could put a lottery on anyone. Valentine Holmes gets it for now. But I'll tell you what, the way Brandon Best played, he probably deserves a shot at this level, but I don't think he'll get it. And Matt Burton has been the forgotten player, but he's definitely a good player. But for me, I'm going to stick with Latrell Mitchell and Valentine Holmes. I think it's a solid combination. Then now the halves. Well, number 6, Cameron Munster. Yes, Cameron Munster, to be honest, has no pressure on him to be taken off his lead. The only two players that are even in consideration at all. Cody Walker, but he's sort of out of form. He'll need to find some form. But Cody Walker's best. Definitely talented enough to play the number 6 jersey. But again, seems to be in and out of games, which is costing the Rabbitohs. Tom Dearden. Yes, he is the future star of the game, possibly. Playing very good football. But his time will come, but not today. Now, halfback, this is a shootout, just like the World Cup, which I think they got it wrong, but it didn't matter. They still won anyway. Nathan Cleary and Daly Cherry Evans. To me, Nathan Cleary is the best halfback at Clubland. Very much like Mitchell Pearce. Was very good at Clubland. But when you go up to that next level, that up echelon, you've got to go to another level. And Nathan Cleary is yet to prove that. He's still young, don't get me wrong. He can still definitely do it. Absolutely talented player, don't get me wrong. But I would go on form, and Cherry Evans to me deserves a number 7 jumper. He absolutely killed it in Origin. He deserves his number 7 jersey. I know it'll go to Cleary, but this is my team, so Cherry Evans for me. Now the props. This is probably the strongest um, competition outside of probably fullback that Australia have. Look at the list. Junior Polo, Reagan Campbell Gillard, Tino Filimasul-Ali, Payne Huss, Tom Fleeger, Ruben Cotter, and the list just goes on and on and on. Lindsay Collins, I mean, the list just is absolutely crazy here. But I think this is pretty easy. Tino, Payne Huss are your 2 props. Easy as that. Simple as it. They could play 80 minutes. And I look at this whole team, we can nearly have them all play 80 minutes. But there's one player, obviously, I don't think will play 80 minutes. But we'll get to that. For me, Tino and Payne Huss are the 2 for me. I mean, Junior Paulo just hasn't seemed to go up to the next level. But a few of the others might make the bench. Now, the second rowers. We're looking here, you're looking at Cameron Murray, David Fafita, Jeremiah Nanai, Liam Martin. You probably put Jake Taforovic in there as well. There's a chance to be in this team. But, yeah, it's very tough to know where to go. And to be honest, on this list of players, because they're all good enough to be everywhere. But to me, Liam Martin's been the best number 11 for the last couple of years. He was the best in Australia at the World Cup. To me, Liam Martin's a shoo-in. And to me, I think David Fafita has leapfrogged everyone else and bounces into the team. He played outstanding this season, and I think he deserves a shot. So 13, now this was a match one here. Pat Carrington versus Cameron Murray and Isaiah Yeo. They're the 3. Who's it going to be? Well, I've got my opinions. I mean, you could play all 3 of them in the team, 2 of them in the team, only 1 in the team. But to me, Cameron Murray's play the ball speed is outstanding. He gets a role on it that no other player can do in the NRL. That's why I have him at 13. I'm not saying he's the best 13, but to me, he's the most reliable. And I can use Pat Carrington on the bench. Yes, we're getting to the bench. Well, to me, the bench was a bit of an interesting one. I don't think he needs the 2 hooker policy, but Nathan Cleary to me can play hooker. He can play halves. He can play lock. I think Nathan Cleary just comes in and he can just play his game and do what you want. But there, I think he can easily be there. But clearly, Ben Hunt can be selected there as well. But I'm just putting in a little bit more for future look there. Nathan Cleary, he'll probably play number 7 anyway. But that's where I put Nathan Cleary. Pat Carrington, yes, to me, he makes good sense here for the bench. Most of these players can play 80 minutes, so it's not going to be big game time for a lot of these players. So David Fafita will get a rest, and you got someone like Jeremiah Nanai comes in for me. He's just a bit of an impact player. You can have Spencer Liu, these sort of impact players on the bench here, even though he hasn't played for New South Wales. But just an impact player. That's sort of what you need. And then you got Ruben Cotter for me, makes it 17. I think that's the way to go there. So you can have your differences for me. So Reece Walsh, Josh Adokar, Latrell Mitchell, Valentine Holmes, Campbell Graham, Cameron Munster, and Daly Cherry Evans, Tino, Harry Grant, Payne Huss, Liam Martin, David Fafita, Cameron Murray. That's my starting team. Cleary on the bench. You can clearly not have Cleary on the bench. You can have someone else there if you were going to go for something else. Jeremiah Nanai, Pat Carrington, and Ruben Cotter. That's a strong team. But I quickly want to look at a B team just to give you an example of what Australia A versus Australia B team. It's a pretty formidable team. I'll put a couple of other players in the team that I thought have been playing good this season. So let's have a look. James Tedesco at fullback, Xavier Coates and Salon Cobbo on the wing, Brandon Best and Matt Burton. So we're looking at some young talent here. And there's some experience. Cody Walker and Nico Hines in the halves. Regan Campbell-Gillard and Junior Paulo the starting props with Ben Hunt at 9. More than likely he'll be in the top team anyway, but let's go to it. Bryce Cartwright. To me, he's playing outstanding. He's been very good for Parramatta this season. I think he deserves He won't get the jumper for Australia, but I think if he continues to play with us, he could get a jumper down the line, even New South Wales. Keon Kalamatangi, he's playing good for Isaiah. Probably unlucky not to make the 17, but I think one of them are going to miss out, and it might be him. 14 for me, I'll put Sam Walker in. I still think he is a super talent. Absolutely been dreadfully trained by the Roosters, and I think Sam Walker will see what happens here. Tommy Flecker, Lindsay Collins, and Reece Robson makes my 17, and obviously Jake Trbojevic could be in the hunt there as well. So many to pick from. You could pick another team, another third team, and it would be just as strong. So it's going to be a good competition coming up at the end of the year. Good to see some international footy come into the game. Anyway, that's from me, from Barry Charles Footy Show. Remember to like the video, share it with all your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Have a great day out there.